Joey is a guitar player. When he was a young child, he was very happy. His mother would leave the radio on, and he would sing, and he would dance, and play, and make a whole lot of noise. His mother would come in and say, "Joey, why don't you play with blocks? Why don't you be a little quieter?" He thought, I could do that. So he would play blocks for hours. He would always have the sounds in his head, and he'd be singing. Sometimes his siblings or friends would come along and play with him, but he could play for hours. He thought sometimes that people didn't understand him when they wanted him to be quiet. But he kept the sound in his head all the same. One day, Joey's mother says, "It's time for you to go to school. You're almost 5 years old." He said, "What do I need to go to school for?" She said, "You'll see." He went to school, and they started showing him how to play. He thought, I know how to play. And they asked him not to sing and not to dance. So he said, I can do that, although he was a little less happy. He always kept the sound in his head and the song in his heart. When Joey would come home, he would go over to the turntable and he'd reach up and grab his sister's records. They were Beatles records, sometimes the Byrds, sometimes the Hollies, and he would grab those records and put them on the turntable, and he would play them and he would sing them. He'd learn the songs, but then his sister would come home and she would yell, "Mommy, he got into my records again." And his mother would say, "Don't you touch those records, they're your sister's." Joey felt like people didn't really understand him. If we are duly blessed among all the people we have that we think don't understand us, there'll be somebody who is really cool. Well, Joey had a cousin who was about 8-9 years older than him, cool cousin Davy. And one day he got to go over cool cousin Davy's house where he had several guitars. Cool cousin Davy was even building one of his own. He showed Joey some things, and Joey said, "Oh, I wish I had a guitar." And it just so happened that cool cousin Davy had a 3/4 size guitar he wasn't using anymore. Cool cousin Davy showed him some things, and he brought the guitar home. And he played, and he played, and he played. Well, Joey was ending his school years. He was in 11th grade, and people told him, "You have to pick a career. Music is nice, but you need something that will earn you a living out in the world." And people told him, "Computers are good." He thought, I'll call cool cousin Davy and ask him. And he called cool cousin Davy, and cool cousin Davy just said, "Joey, what do you want to do?" And Joey thought, I called him for advice, and he's asking me what I want to do. That doesn't make sense. Joey graduated college. He got a job in computer support. He played all the time, on weekends and in the evenings. He sometimes was very, very tired. He said, "Oh, I can do this." And he was a little less happy, but he still played his music. One day, Joey goes to work, and the boss comes in and he says, "We have a deadline on Friday. Everybody has to stay real late on Wednesday and Thursday, so cross everything off your calendars. You're expected to be in here." Joey thought, I have an obligation. I have 2 gigs on Wednesday and Thursday. But he went home that night thinking, what am I going to do? Now, it just so happened that that night, Monday night, he was to go and meet this gal named Susan, who he had never met before. But the idea was that she was a real good singer and a songwriter and a guitar player too, and that they were going to get together and try and work out some stuff. But when he got over there, first of all, things clicked right away. and he went right down the road of her melodies. And he found out that she had just put out an album and she was getting ready to tour and needed a guitar player. And when he looked up, he saw the road that he was going to take. He heard the music, and he also met somebody that finally understood him. The moral of this story, keep that music in your heart and in your head. It'll be there when you need it. Until next time, have a great weekend.